In this video, I'll be walking through how to fill out the Form W-9 if you are operating your business as an S Corp or C Corp. If your business is organized in a different manner, for example, individual sole proprietor, single member LLC, general partnership, or a multi-member LLC, go ahead and watch one of the other videos available on my channel that I recorded. So the Form W-9, the request for taxpayer identification number and certification, what you're doing is providing your taxpayer identification number to someone who's hired you to perform services, and you are also certifying that the information you provided is accurate and it is legal for you to perform services in the United States. So let's jump right in. Okay, here's the Form W-9, request for taxpayer identification number and certification. Line 1 is your name as shown on your tax return. So in your case, you're going to be filing a business tax return. So if you are an S Corp, that'll be the 1120S. If you are a C Corp, that'll be the Form 1120. So you're going to put in your name as it's shown on that tax return. So in this case, I'm Joe Smith. I run a plumbing operation in Nashville, Tennessee here. I just made all of this up and I am incorporated. So I'm going to put my name here, Joe's Plumbing, Inc. Okay, great. So Joe's Plumbing, Inc. I don't operate differently. Actually, let's go ahead and this is more optional if you have a different name that you go by. So let's just say that I've registered an assumed name in the state of Tennessee for Joe's Plumbing, and I put that on my invoicing, etc. Great, so we filled out line 1. That's the name as it's shown on the face of my tax return. So on my 1120, the name of my business is Joe's Plumbing, Inc. Line 2 is the doing business as name, assumed name, etc. Joe's Plumbing. All right, box 3, check the appropriate box for federal tax classification of the person whose name is entered on line 1. Check only one of the following 7 boxes. So I'm not an individual sole proprietor or a single member LLC. I am a C Corp, so I am going to check that. S Corp, partnership, trust and estate. Again, I'm not a limited liability company, so I'm going to disregard this box here. And you can notice that there are some selections here related to that box. Box 4, I'm skipping exemptions. I've never seen exemptions in any of the businesses I've worked with, so I'm going to skip that. All right, box 5, this is where you'd like to receive correspondence from the person hiring you. You're not going to receive a 1099 NEC. You could, but the person hiring you isn't required to fill out that 1099 NEC for you. This is their way of verifying that you are a corporation and aren't subject to them providing a 1099 to the IRS and to you. Other correspondence could be, for example, your payment. So if you're receiving a check from the person that's hiring you, make sure that you add the address from which you can receive mail. So I'm going to put 123 Main Street, Nashville, Tennessee, because that's where I am. All right, requester's name and address. This is an optional box. I want to recommend that you just leave this blank. You could compile the requester's name and address for every requester, but that's going to become a little arduous and not very efficient for your operations. I'd rather you have one Form W-9 that's current that you can provide easily and readily to anyone who's hired you. Now, if you're only hired by 1 or 2 people per year, maybe 3 people per year, go ahead and put the requester's name. I think that's a nice touch, but otherwise, just have one standard default W-9 for your business that's only updated if something changes. For example, you change the entity structure, your mailing address changes, etc. That's when you would adjust your W-9. But otherwise, to have one W-9 stored in a secure cloud portal, you can share a link to whomever has hired you to perform services in their business, and you're good to go. You don't have to think about this much more than that. Next box is the taxpayer identification number. So please enter the TIN in the appropriate box. So this is going to be the EIN for your S Corp or C Corp. So I'll put that down here in the employer identification number area, not in the social security number area. All right, I'm adding my fictitious EIN. Okay, great. So part 1 is complete. Next is the certification. I'm a corporation. I'm going to be the signer. I'm the person in charge of my business as the managing shareholder. So I will sign where it says signature here, and I'll date the date of signature, basically certifying that the information that I've provided is accurate and I am a legal citizen or a U.S. person that's legit to work in the United States. And that's it for this form. One short piece on information security. In part 1, you're providing a taxpayer identification number. In this case, it's an EIN for your personal tax return. It's a social security number. These numbers, you don't want to become a victim of identity theft. So keep this information secure. I do not recommend that you email this information ever, or any type of form that has this information. I see this happening all the time. Nearly daily, I see somebody email me a social security number or an EIN. I never ask for that, but I receive it. Even if you have the most secure email environment, you don't know how the recipient has their email set up. They could be in a McDonald's using McDonald's Wi-Fi to receive your social security number, and that information can be very easily picked off, and you could quickly become a victim of identity theft. So just to recap, we have filled out the form W-9 for my C Corporation. You can follow the same procedures for an S Corp. Joe's Plumbing, Inc. I do business as Joe's Plumbing. I've checked the one box for C Corporation. Of course, you wouldn't check that if you're an S Corporation. You'd check over here. And then I filled out the address, 123 Main Street, etc. I've left the requester's name blank. I've added my EIN for the corporation. And I signed down here in the Part 2 certification and dated the date of my signature. So work with your tax advisor, your CPA, to make sure that you fill out this information correctly. But this is a quick walkthrough. Definitely, if you have any questions, work with your advisor. Thanks a lot.